Hey, what's up? I'm Adam with Aerial Motion Photography, and I'd like to welcome you back or welcome you to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing a review of DJI and they do custom drone wraps. So far, I've probably installed about 5 or 6 of them. I've done it on the Air 2, the Air 2S, and then also the Mini 2. In this video, I'm going to be covering just the basics, and probably everything you want to know is how hard are they to install, how long do they last, and also does it really increase the visibility. So if that sounds interesting, let's get into it. So part 1 is going to be how easy they are to install. So I'm going to do this in order of installation. So for me, the very easiest one is the Mini 2. I think it's because it's really flat, it's small, and it seemed like that it was a lot easier than some of these other drones to put on. So if I had to give it a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably say it was about a 4 out of 10 difficulty to do the installation on the Mini 2, and that's the same as just the Mini. Next in line would be the Mavic Air 2. So this one is kind of tricky. In one of my last videos, I gave it, I think, a 7 out of 10 for installation. And that's just because it has all these little side pieces that are skinny. There's a lot more curves and concaves. This is a little tricky, and just the legs are kind of tricky, and just kind of everything was a little bit more difficult than before. It also, since it has these SD card ports, and then it has the little USB-C, that was a little tricky. And then kind of just how it connects in the back of these arms. I guess I'm really talking about how tricky it was, but like I said, it's about a 7 out of 10. So that just leaves me with the Air 2S. So disregard what happened to this gimbal. I got into a little crash, and so this is going back to DJI pretty much as soon as I finish this video. And so let's talk about how easy this was to install. So out of the 3 drones that I've installed it on, this is the hardest one. And I think it's because of these new frog eyed sensors, and that just adds difficulty. You can kind of see how that's more flat. And then now, since it has the sensors, there's a concave to it, and it also has these strips that help it fold and I guess fit better so it doesn't get any bubbles. And besides that, it's about the same as the Air 2, but I probably would give this almost like a 8.5 or 9 out of 10. It really has to do with just putting it over these sensors and kind of trying to get it to fit and to look seamlessly. Now, part number 2 is I'm going to say how long do these things last. So what I've realized is the Mini 2, this one has lasted the longest, but I will say I haven't flown it that many times. But the sticker seems to be really just, I guess, strong. And these edges, there's really nothing peeling off. So that's pretty impressive. These are all the matte finishes that DJI has, and these are the custom drone wraps that they do. So you actually get to do whatever design you want, whatever color you want. So this is my red drone, and then I have like red and orange with a little bit of yellow, and then I have a yellow. So cool little fleet I have going on. The next is going to be the Mavic Air 2. And this one, like I was saying, is more difficult to install, especially if you're really trying to do a good job and to get these seams as close as possible. They recommend not to stretch it. It is kind of tempting to stretch it to make it fit all the way, because I don't really like the seams. I don't mind it on the red and the orange ones because I think that looks kind of cool with the gray. I really don't like the seams that much. I did a wrap grade. That was my first wrap that I've ever done. You can click on the video up here. And one thing that I liked most about the wrap grade brand was that there was hardly any seams. It seemed like that their stickers were just a tiny bit bigger, and that allowed it not to overlap, but to come like really close and to almost have it be seamless. So with this decal grill, every single piece has a seam. And for me, the part that kind of, if we're talking about like durability or how long does it stick, always around here, it kind of feels like it's gonna peel off a little bit. So kind of every now and then I just press it down like that. This one's actually doing pretty well. You really just have to be careful, especially with the nose. There's just a lot going on. So there's a piece here, a slice here. So that's three different pieces that all kind of go in such a small spot. So those are kind of the areas where it kind of peels up a little bit, but I've had good luck with this wrap job right here, and it hasn't really peeled off, and it seems to be doing pretty well. But the one that I think is peeling off the most and performing the worst would be the one on the Air 2S, and that's for a couple of reasons. I think it's those sensors. Those sensors are kind of just messing up everything when it comes to the wrap. It just has like one or two more angles that it has to do, and I've noticed that the nose, so I try really hard to get the nose to be as close as possible so that it looks like it's one piece. In one of my installations, what I said is I even err a little bit on the side of going a little bit too far on the nose just to get it to touch. But on this one, there really wasn't that much to even use to err on it. And then those sensors and the cutouts, you really can't, you really have to put it in the exact spots that it's meant to be. So this one was the most difficult to install. It's the one that peels off the easiest. And for some reason, this one, just almost all the time I fly it, I just find myself pushing things down, and it's kind of just peeling up a little bit over time, more than on the other drones. I put it on a brand new drone, so it's not like it was dirty, and I also used something to clean it off, like they said in their instructions. So I'm not sure why that this one isn't sticking the best, but this is my second Air 2S that I've done, and both of them kind of have the same result. Now let's get to the part about visibility. Okay, so the one that is the easiest to see is this traffic cone yellow, or it's almost like a neon green too, at least in the light. And this one really stands out the most, especially if you crash it in like a field. I had an orange one, and I crashed it in a lake that wasn't too deep, and I was actually able to see it down in the water. So that one really saved my drone. I also had another orange one that stood out, and so I feel like that both of these are almost equal to how much they stay out. If you're really going for that like neon color, I'd recommend the yellow or the orange. Moving on, this red actually doesn't stand out as much as you would think. Maybe just because it's a smaller speck in the air, but I found that it doesn't really, when you're flying, you can't really tell that it's wrapped. Maybe you can tell just a little bit off the bottom, but it's not like it's just shocking, obvious out of the sky. But I think it does help stand out. Maybe if you crash it on a rock and it's up against something, then you can see the red color. I know that when I've lost drones in the past, when they haven't had any wraps on, and you know, since they're like that light gray or gray color, a lot of times that the rocks are the same color. So I think just anything that you can change up the color will kind of catch your eye and help you find things. But I've noticed that this matte red, in my experience, doesn't stand out as much as this bright yellow. Then thirdly would be this blend that I kind of did. I was actually really trying to match this color, but I found that on the Decal Girl website, colors are really, I guess, up in the air. They say that you can use, if you use kind of like what the color palette is and those numbers, that you can get pretty good results. What I found is it's always a little bit of a mystery of what you're gonna get. So the yellow I was going for probably didn't have this much like green to it. I don't know if it's picking it up on the camera, but it's yellow, but it does have kind of like a neon green. So I was just going for a super bright yellow. For this was pretty realistic. I was going for just a dark red. So this one came out pretty well. And then this one that I did, you know how I was saying that like I faded from the red to the yellow, and the red matches pretty well. The orange is okay. I was wishing that the orange would be a little brighter, but maybe what I uploaded wasn't bright enough. But then the yellow, like I was saying, I really hoped it to be this bright. So I think when you're doing the custom wraps, you just got to be able to accept that it might not be exactly the color that you thought you wanted to get designed. The reason why I went with decalgirl.com is because they allow you to customize your drone. So, I mean, I think it's awesome to be able to put whatever you want on there. So I have my AMP, which is Aerial Motion Photography logo. And it's got the palm trees and the sun, and it goes like red, orange, and yellow. And then I really like how the wings look. Before I found out about these custom wraps, I had some custom stickers made, but it definitely did not look as cool. And I just really think they look awesome. And then I have my AMP on the side, and then I have my logo on the back. And this was not as hard as it looks to install, but there is a sensor back there. And then on the Mini, there's no sensors, so that's why it was so flat. And that's another reason why I think that this was the easiest model to put it on. Another cool thing about the Decal Grill is they give you enough stickers for 3 batteries total. And then so you can customize these other batteries, or you can keep them the same color so that they'll match. So I think that's really cool. When I did wrap grade, you have to purchase the extra battery wraps. So that was probably one of my favorite parts about this company, both the customization and you do get the extra battery wraps. And it does kind of look cool. Making everything just look bright. I mean, this is pretty darn crazy, but hey, if this is what's going to keep me from losing the drone, I am all about it. Whoa, did you guys see that? And lastly would be the remote. So they give you also the stickers of the remote. You can do the same customization thing using the same color and the same artwork. They make it really easy to just transfer that down to the remote. And so I really like this. It is pretty durable, and it saved my remote from getting scratched once. It saved it pretty good once. And then this one, I just chose to do something different. So I tried this white carbon fiber, and I think it does look pretty sweet. And that's going to wrap up this video. I hope this helped you learn more about Decal Grill, and you kind of figured out the pros and cons that I talked about. And if you guys found this video interesting, give it a big thumbs up. That means a lot to me. Subscribe down below if you want to see more videos like these, and then check those notifications so you'll be notified when I upload my newest videos. As always, my name's Adam. Fly safe. Take care. Peace.